If you just heard that sound and felt a mixture of excitement and dread wash over your body, congratulations, you survived the dial-up internet era. And if you have no idea what that noise was, consider yourself lucky, because you missed one of the most frustrating periods in human technological history. That beautiful, terrible sound was your 56K modem attempting to connect to the internet. Sometimes it worked on the first try, sometimes it took 15 attempts, and sometimes, just when you thought you were connected, someone would pick up the phone and destroy everything you'd been working on for the past hour. From roughly 1995 to 2005, dial-up internet was how most of America got online. And it was absolutely, completely, mind-numbingly insane. We're talking about internet speeds so slow that downloading a single 3-minute song took 20 minutes on a good day. We're talking about connection times so unreliable that you'd literally pray to whatever deity you believed in just to stay online long enough to check your email. But here's what nobody talks about. Dial-up internet didn't drive us crazy because it was slow. Plenty of things in life are slow, and we deal with them just fine. Dial-up drove us absolutely insane because it was unpredictable, it was expensive, and it turned the simple act of going online into a high-stakes gambling experience where you never knew if you were going to win or lose everything. And the craziest part? We loved it anyway, because dial-up internet, for all its flaws, gave us our first taste of a connected world. And once you experienced that, there was no going back. To understand why dial-up drove us all crazy, we need to go back to 1995, when most people had never heard the word internet, and the idea of a World Wide Web sounded like science fiction. If you wanted to communicate with someone far away, you wrote a letter, sent a fax, or made a long-distance phone call that cost a fortune. If you wanted information about something, you went to the library, bought an encyclopedia, or called someone who might know. If you wanted to buy something, you drove to a store or ordered from a catalog and waited weeks for delivery. The world moved slowly, and that was just how things were. Nobody was expecting that to change anytime soon. And then your friend's older brother or your coworker or that tech-savvy neighbor started talking about this thing called the internet. They said you could send messages instantly to anyone in the world. They said you could find information about anything you wanted to know. They said you could even buy things without leaving your house. It sounded too good to be true, but then they showed you. I remember the first time I saw someone use email. They typed a message, clicked send, and within seconds, someone on the other side of the country had received it. My mind was blown. This wasn't just faster than regular mail. This was instantaneous communication across vast distances. It felt like magic. So you decided you had to get this internet thing for yourself. And that's when the nightmare began. First, you had to choose an internet service provider. In most areas, you had maybe 2 or 3 options, and they all had names that sounded like they were made up by robots. Earthlink, NetZero, Juno, AOL. Each one promised blazing fast 56K speeds and unlimited access, but the fine print was always full of restrictions and hidden fees. Then you had to buy a modem. If you were lucky, your computer came with one built-in. If not, you were looking at spending $100 to $200 for a device that looked like a small plastic box and made sounds like a dying robot. But the real fun started when you tried to actually connect to the internet. You'd double-click your dial-up connection icon, and your modem would start making those horrible screeching noises as it tried to negotiate a connection with your ISP's modem. Sometimes this process took 30 seconds, sometimes it took 5 minutes, and sometimes it just failed completely, and you'd have to try again. And here's where dial-up started to drive people truly insane: the busy signals. See, your ISP only had a limited number of phone lines. If too many people tried to connect at the same time, you'd get a busy signal, just like calling a popular radio station during a contest. Except this wasn't a contest. This was you trying to check your email or do research for a school project. I remember spending entire evenings just trying to get connected. You'd try at 7 p.m., busy signal. Try again at 7:15, busy signal. Try at 7:30, busy signal. Finally connect at 8:45, only to get disconnected 10 minutes later when your mom needed to use the phone. Because here's the thing that younger people don't understand. Dial-up internet used your phone line. You couldn't be online and use the phone at the same time. Families had to choose, internet or phone calls. And guess which one usually won? This created a whole new category of family conflict. Kids would beg for just 10 more minutes online. Parents would need to make important calls. Siblings would fight over who got to use the internet when. The phone line became the most contested resource in the household. But let's say you actually managed to get connected and stay connected. Now came the real test of your patience, actually using the internet. Web pages in the dial-up era were like puzzles that loaded one piece at a time. You'd type in a website address, hit enter, and then wait, and wait, and wait. First, the text would appear. Then, slowly, agonizingly, the images would start to load from top to bottom, line by line. A single web page could take 5 minutes to fully load. A page with multiple images? Forget about it. You'd click on a link, go make a sandwich, come back, and the page might be halfway done loading. And God help you if you accidentally clicked on the wrong link, because now you had to wait another 5 minutes for a page you didn't even want to see. But the absolute worst part of dial-up internet was downloading files. Want to download a song? That'll be 20 to 30 minutes, assuming your connection doesn't drop. Want to download a software update? Better plan to leave your computer on overnight. Want to download a video? You'd better have a lot of patience and a very understanding family, because that phone line was going to be tied up for hours. And here's what made it truly maddening. Downloads could fail at any time, for any reason. You could be 90% done downloading a file, and then someone would pick up the phone, or your ISP would have a hiccup, or a squirrel would chew through a cable somewhere, and you'd lose everything. All that time wasted. You'd have to start over from the beginning. I remember downloading the trailer for Star Wars Episode 1, a 2-minute video that took 3 hours to download. I babysat that download like it was a premature infant. I didn't let anyone near the phone. I didn't run any other programs. I just sat there, watching the progress bar creep forward pixel by pixel, praying that nothing would go wrong. And when it finally finished and I was able to watch those 2 minutes of grainy, pixelated footage, it felt like I had accomplished something truly significant. I had conquered the internet. But here's the thing that made dial-up internet so addictive despite all its problems. It was magical. For the first time in human history, you could sit in your bedroom and communicate with people on the other side of the planet. You could find information about any topic that interested you. You could discover new music, new ideas, new communities of people who shared your interests. The internet in the dial-up era felt like a vast, unexplored frontier. Every website was a new discovery. Every chat room was a new community. Every download was a treasure you had worked hard to obtain. And because everything took so long, you appreciated it more. When it took 20 minutes to download a song, you listened to that song carefully. When it took 5 minutes to load a web page, you read every word. When you finally connected to a chat room after multiple attempts, you made the most of your time there. Dial-up internet taught us patience in a way that modern high-speed internet never could. It forced us to be intentional about our online activities. You couldn't just mindlessly browse. Every click had consequences, every download was a commitment. But perhaps the most important thing about dial-up internet was that it created a shared experience of technological frustration that bonded an entire generation. Everyone had dial-up horror stories. Everyone knew the pain of a failed download. Everyone had experienced the rage of getting disconnected at the worst possible moment. These shared experiences created a kind of technological solidarity. We were all suffering through this together, and somehow that made it bearable. And when broadband finally started becoming available in the early 2000s, it felt like a miracle. Suddenly, web pages loaded instantly. Downloads that used to take hours now took minutes. You could stay connected all day without tying up the phone line. The internet transformed from a frustrating hobby into an essential utility. But here's what's funny. As much as we complained about dial-up internet, as much as it drove us absolutely crazy, there's a part of us that misses it. We miss the anticipation of waiting for a page to load, wondering what we were going to discover. We miss the satisfaction of successfully downloading a file after multiple attempts. We miss the way the internet felt like a special place that you had to work to access, rather than something that was always there in your pocket. Dial-up internet drove us crazy because it was slow, unreliable, and expensive. But it also drove us crazy because it was our first taste of a connected world. And once we experienced that connection, we couldn't imagine living without it. We put up with busy signals and failed downloads and family arguments over the phone line because we knew we were witnessing the birth of something revolutionary. We were pioneers in the digital frontier, and every successful connection, every completed download, every meaningful online conversation was proof that the future was going to be amazing. Looking back now, dial-up internet seems almost quaint. Kids today can't imagine waiting 20 minutes to download a song, or planning their internet usage around their family's phone schedule, or celebrating when a web page loads in under a minute. But for those of us who lived through the dial-up era, we remember. We remember the sound of the modem connecting. We remember the frustration of busy signals and failed downloads. We remember the magic of that first email, that first chat room conversation, that first successful file download. Dial-up internet drove us all crazy, but it also changed our lives forever. It taught us that technology could connect us in ways we never imagined, even if that technology was slow, unreliable, and made horrible screeching noises. And honestly, we wouldn't trade those memories for anything, even if we never want to hear that dial-up sound again. If this brought back memories of your own dial-up internet trauma, please subscribe to the channel and check out the videos on your screen. There's so much more technological nostalgia to explore together.